Welcome, my man. Welcome back to Fourth and Nine to Victory, man. We got a special guest on. Well, he's our regular guest, man. I wouldn't even call him, a special guest. He's a regular guest. He's always joining the show and helping us out, my man. We got our weekly resident, Mr. Tough Style himself, Leon. Welcome, my man. Welcome to the show.
B Jinx, thanks, man. Thank you and Chris for having me on tonight. Trojan fans, what's happening?
Man, glad to have you on, man. You and I were talking off air, and we're going to get into a lot of topics, the more and more people start to come into the room, man. But it's good to have you on. We got a few recruiting topics we're going to touch on. You see the thumbnail, right? On the for the show, the Trojan fence. It looks good, right? And that's what That's what we're accustomed. That's what we're accustomed to. USC putting up that fence, man, having that fence around California, but now it's starting to what? It's starting to radiate out to the rest of the United States. Remember back in the day, and we always touch on this, right? Back in the day when Fight On, Gil, Fight On. You remember back in the day when Pete Carroll had the show running, and he would lock down Cali, and he would do what? Cherry pick, NFL draft talent outside of California. We think about the Dwayne Jarrett's, when you think about the Mike Williams, when you think about the heck, Lindell White was from Colorado, right? Think about Lindell White. When you think about the Brian Cushings, he's from New Jersey. When you think about you think about all of this talent that has contributed to the Trojan program. A lot of these big time players came from out of the state of Cali, but they were NFL talent, right? So again, just like the thumbnail, hey, look, you're starting to see it in recruiting. The more and more the organization Fight On, J-Rod, the more and more the organization gets it together and puts this standard in place. You remember a few shows ago, we talked about a lot of people would talk about the culture, bringing back the culture. And I said, before you have a culture, you got to have a standard. Chad Bowden implemented the no visit rule, and it seemed to be effective. A lot of people thought in the beginning that it could hurt us, right? But over the last 2 seasons, as Chad Bowden has been, well, he's going into his second season with the program, but over the last 2 seasons, we've only lost maybe, I'll say less than 4 or 5 players because of that rule implemented. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. I think people were a little bit apprehensive because when we lost to Xavier Griffin, he was at a position of need, linebacker. Right. Plus, he was a 5-star. And when he kind of kicked on us, people were like, I don't know, this ain't going to work. This ain't going to work. I think the other guy we lost that recruiting cycle was Cohen Brown, wide receiver.
Right.
I think he was from Georgia. But like you said, over the couple seasons that he's been here, we've only lost 3, maybe 4 guys total out of the 40-some plus guys.
Yeah, because we had 35 the first recruiting cycle in 2026. Now we're in 2027, and with the what we have right now, sitting at about 14 or 15 players so far. Yeah, we're in the top 10. So that standard is pretty. It appears to be solid. I think the most recent one, like you said, we lost was the wide receiver. Eli Woodard. I'm blanking on the kid's name. What's his name?
Eli Woodard.
Eli Woodard. But there's been some eyeballs on a more local receiver, right? Even with the addition of the kid that's out of Arizona that shut it down?
Roy Oliver.
Roy Oliver that shut it down, one of the top receivers in the country. So I think the standard has been pretty much solid for the program. I think it's worked in the positive also for the program. But most importantly, this is what the rest of college football, especially the SEC, has been dreading for USC to get its act together, right? When you think about Pete Carroll leaving the program, when you think about the amount of recruits that jump ship or just jump ship when, talk about staying home and playing for the home team, those sanctions really did a number on USC. And like I've said before, none of the schools in the Pac-12 stood up for USC when USC got hit with those unjustified sanctions. No, because they saw an opportunity to do what? To come up and eat. So when we lose players from the West Coast, starting with DeAnthony Thomas. He was one of the first ones to detract and go up to Oregon. When you think about Tua, even though Tua is from Hawaii, he's still what considered to be the West Coast. You think about Bryce Young. When you think about Najee Harris, they got out of here and went to both of them ended up at Alabama. When you think about all of this talent that left Cali, even the tight end that went to Georgia ended up being a great All American. Think about all that talent that left Cali, man. All of those guys could have helped contribute to keeping the ball rolling. Even after Pete Carroll left, I think that Kiffin would have fared pretty good. Shout out to D Lifer, man. Appreciate everybody for joining the show. We're going to get to some calls in a little bit. But I think Kiffin would have fared well, but he was up against, he was behind the eight ball when you talk about 30 scholarships. He weathered, he was brought in to weather the storm, and he was what we consider to be a true Trojan, right? You talk about bringing him in. Shout out to Austin. You talk about bringing him in after Pete Carroll left, and this was mainly to do what? To salvage recruiting. I think that the front office, the administration saw. Shout out to Carter and Bowl. The administration saw what was going to happen, right? You talk about Kiffin, who was familiar with the program, who had been around Pete Carroll, who knew about the landscape of California and the importance of keeping that talent home. But again, he was up against the eight ball. We talk about losing 30 scholarships, and I think he managed it pretty well. It's just that he had some situations to where he couldn't get out of his own way. Cardin and Bo said, "I never slandered Kiffin." Kiffin. I wouldn't say that I'm slandering Kiffin. I wouldn't say that, but Kiffin has always failed upward, if that makes sense. And I'm not hating on him, I'm not throwing no shade at him, but to me, he has always failed upward. He's always ended up in a favorable spot. I think he's a pretty good guy when it comes to coaching, but it was some coaching moves that he made that kind of costed him his job, and from what I understand, could have been avoidable. But I want to get your opinion on that, Leon.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you could also make the argument that Kiffin may not have been ready to be the head coach at USC.
Right.
Great offensive coordinator. On the offensive side, he's almost mirroring Lincoln Riley to an extent, right? Great offensive mind, can recruit and put people in the right positions to win offensively, but maybe in terms of the total team concept, he probably wasn't ready. He was just a little bit too young. And like you said, he made some mistakes that, a seasoned head coach with, 10 years in at a premier blue blood institution probably wouldn't have made. So, and just real quick, and just to kind of circle back real quick, going back to Chad Bowden and developing the culture and losing players and stuff like that. One other thing I think us as fans, we don't think about when it comes to Chad Bowden, how he's constructing the roster. Once you commit, you with us, and we're not going to be, letting you visit other players and stuff like that. It also helps with budgeting. If you have a budget and you know how much money you're paying for paying players and stuff like that, then you can also look at retention and projecting out your budget for next year.
That's true.
Projecting out from how much money you have for transfer portal, stuff like that. So I think him being a general manager, he's looking at all these different things, building the culture, looking at the budget, looking at retention, all these kinds of things, raising money through the fan base. So I just think he's doing a good job. And I think us as fans, sometimes we don't think about the business aspect of it and how much budgeting is just as important in terms of getting players, knowing who you got. Okay, we got these 14 guys, 15 guys, 35 guys. They locked in. We know how much money we spending, and let's move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And going back to that whole recruiting thing, I think the program itself, USC, has always cared about keeping Cali talent home. And you think about the hiring tree since Pete Carroll left, like we initially said, starting off with Kiffin. He's considered to be a true Trojan. He was around for the championship years. Then we went to Sark, right? Sark, true Trojan, championship years. Both of these guys were familiar with the program, but most importantly, they were familiar with how excuse me, they had an awareness of how important it was to do what? Keep Cali talent home. So I'm thinking that's why the program did what they did as far as from a hiring standpoint. Would have been beneficial to make a big swing and go after Urban Meyer, go after another one of the big time coaches. Could have been, but you're talking about guys that you would have done a lot, needed to do a lot of convincing to come to USC, and that shouldn't be the case. So when they settled in on Clay Helton, remember Clay Helton was hired on by Lane Kiffin as a quarterback coach. Remember, and he had
Yep.
been with the program for a while. After Kiffin got fired, he took over the program. After Sark got hired, Sark retained him. After Sark got fired, he took back over the program, and then finally, Pat Hayden hired him on full time. But I think that was the bridge. I think that in the forefront of their minds, they always cared about keeping the California talent home. So when they went outside of the family tree and hired on a Lincoln Riley, I think that at that point they were looking forward to, okay, now that we've established that we want to keep Cali talent home, let's go for a championship now. But in the beginning, Lincoln Riley, that wasn't in the front of his mind. He was thinking more so, okay, I'm going to recruit the way I've been recruiting. What was he used to recruiting? Oklahoma and Texas, right? So once, I guess once they lit enough fire underneath them, and he saw, the momentum was to do what, to keep the Cali talent home, and the front office got behind him. I think that's when you start to see them galvanize and really focus on that California talent. That and some pressure from the former players. Hey, look, stop letting these boys get out of California.
But B Jinx, I will say this. I read an article that stated once Lincoln Riley was hired, the first thing he did was reach out to the top athletes in California and brought them in to sit down and say, hey, I'm taking over the program. We would love for you guys to get here. But it was really late in the recruiting cycle.
Right.
And he didn't get any of those guys. Whether he wasn't recruiting those guys when he was at OU, so he couldn't get them to come in or whatever have you. But he did reach out to the top recruits in California. They didn't come. And then,
Right.
NIL started.
The program, I think coming off of that Hilton era, I think the program had lost a lot of credibility, man. Again, we're talking about a lot of the top talent had got out of here. When you think about a Najee Harris went to Alabama, when you talk about a Tua that went to Alabama, and Tua, was I don't know, I can't remember whether or not he was committed to USC. Bryce Young, that was Sark's guy. When Sark got the axe and ended up at Alabama, guess what? Bryce Young went to Alabama. So I want to say he started off there as an analyst, but all of that is in the past now. We got our GM in. I believe we got in the right coach. Now, I will say this. This is going to be a proven year for Lincoln Riley. I know a lot of fans, some fans are on opposite side of the gate. Some say get rid of him. Some say, no, he's the guy. I'm like this. If he comes in and he does what's expected of him this season, which is to reach the playoff, shout out to USCJ. And does what's expected of him, which is at least reach the playoffs. You got to think about it, Leon. USC, one of the few blue bloods in college football, and this is astonishing to hear, astonishing to say. USC, one of the few blue bloods in college football, one of the most relevant program on the West Coast, have yet to make the college football playoffs since its inception. 20 years ago, this would have been unheard of. If we had a playoff 20 years ago and you had told me 20 years in the future USC wouldn't even make the playoffs for over 2 decades, I would have told you, hey, look, man, you crazy.
But there's reasons for that. But just real quick, I'm looking at the chat, right? I'm looking at the chat, and Roger Dodger says, seems like the GM was the one that started the recruiting California players. That's not true. Doug Belt was the one that started recruiting California players. He started with the secondary. And let's reverse real quick. Lincoln Riley, his first year, did get Dombani Jackson, Rayleigh Brown. Who else did he get? Zion Branch, may not be all California kids, but they
Yeah,
were
but you talking about West
West
Coast.
Coast
Yeah,
kids.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And there was a cornerback, Fabian Ross, right? So he did
Yeah,
get some
Fabian
California
Ross.
kids. So, but yeah, he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough as us USC fans. You expect 15 of the top 10 players and 10 of the top 15 players in California to be at USC every year, right? So
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley did recruit California players. He tried. And Doug Belk is the one that actually started the resurgence of California players coming to USC. It wasn't Chad Bowden.
I want to say it was more so of the reverse. He was cherry picking Cali for the top talent and going outside to get, the rest of his positions of need instead of making Cali the priority, which it is now. You can tell over the past 2.5 to 3 seasons, that has been the focus of Lincoln Riley in the program. Keep the California talent home. And whether people believe it or not, California, and I hear Jay say this all the time, California has enough talent in order to compete and win, and play for a national championship. A lot of people say, well, hey, look, you're going to have to go down south and get some of those big bodies, and that is true. But that's when you're in a position now to go out and cherry pick the big bodies that you want from down south. When you talk about a Floyd Bucard, when you talk about a Thanos, when you talk about I want to say Wingfield is from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about a
Hey,
Luke Wayful. Yeah.
Hey, BJ, check your
Yeah.
text message, bro. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Leon. I'm sorry.
No, I was just seeing if you saw your phone.
Yeah. He got it?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Jay says CJ Williams, Raleigh Brown. Yeah. Yeah. Riley did go after some Cali talent. Now, again, I think that the program just had to get its credibility back. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, Leon. Let me do something real quick. Hold on just a second.
Ray Lee, CJ. Yeah, I do agree with you, Roger Dodger. USC should have the talent every year coming out of California. Like I expect, the top linebackers, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. If you actually see what they're doing now at those positions, whether it's running back, quarterback, wide receiver, those guys should be like itching to be at USC. So the top guys in California should be itching to come there. And I think we did a great job in the 2026 recruiting class with the defensive linemen. You know what I mean? In-state and
Oh, yeah,
out-of-state.
most
Like you
definitely.
said, Jamie
Most definitely.
huh?
I said, yeah, most definitely. You're correct. The only
Yeah.
thing that I'm really concerned about right now, hold on. The only thing I'm really concerned about now, and it's really not a concern, when it comes to Lincoln Riley and quarterbacks, the fact that, we haven't been able to get one on board for the 27-28 class. And I know there's still time left. I do anticipate, of course, after this season, let me go back a little bit. After this season, we lose Jay Maiava and we lose the backup, Hewitt. So the only one
Yep.
we're going to have on scholarship is going to be Williams. I think that Riley will be able to get some out of the portal. Now, whether or not they know they're coming in to back up Williams, well, I want them to compete. I want to come in and compete. Hold on just a second. Chris, my man, I
Hey.
thought you was out today. What's going on?
Man, I got it done. Had to do
You
some.
got it done?
Yeah, had to blow all these balloons up and put some stuff together for my daughter's birthday party tomorrow. I ain't think I was gonna get it finished, man. I've been grinding. I
Okay.
got it all done. So
Hey, real quick though, bro. Let me see that shirt, bro. Let me
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-9 to victory, baby.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on, fellas?
Yeah, but you
I'm,
you
I'm,
see
a,
that go ahead, Leon.
I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that when I get out there for the Ohio State game. I'm gonna need
Already,
that.
I got a couple I'm gonna
Yeah.
take because I'm gonna be out there tailgating. So I'm gonna have to be switching my shirt because I know I'm gonna be sweating and stuff. So I got me a clear bag. My wife, my birthday was Monday, and so my wife got me a clear Nike bag to be able to take in the stadium, so I can have all my electronics. Make sure I got my meta shades. so I can give everybody the first-hand view, game shots and things like that. Got my charges. I'm gonna have a couple shirts in there to change out. So yeah, I'm all set.
Well, my partner in crime, Chris, is on the show. You see the thumbnail, right? The
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it should look. That's the way it should look. And had not the sanctions taken effect, who knows, what type of hardware USC would have, stored away in the treasure chest, right? But everybody, especially on the West Coast, didn't mind seeing USC fall. And that was the wrong thing to do. One thing I noticed about those SEC teams, they don't let the NCAA take down their premium programs or premier programs. They don't let that happen. That's one thing I noticed.
Why, right?
Why is that? Go ahead.
They got the judges. Texas too. They got the judges.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we also talking about state schools. So all these Georgias, the Alabamas, all these state schools, right? And then Texas Techs. And the judges and the lawyers are all alumni of those institutions. So when things come up, they're like, oh, we're going to call such and such on the court system, and we ain't letting nothing go down. We passing laws in favoring our institutions, period. So USC need to spread some more love when it comes to the court system.
That's why I didn't mind watching the Pac-12 collapse and burn. If you notice, for the longest, people have been calling Oregon the flagship program, even though they haven't won anything outside of a few bowl games and a few conference championships. They hadn't won a big thing. And the last time somebody from the West Coast won a championship, a college football championship, was SC back in the 04-05 season. So it proves who still holds the controlling weight out west. That shows it. So when USC decided to leave, and let's not get it mistaken, UCLA was a tag along. The entire conference collapsed. Oregon could have stayed. Washington could have stayed, and tried to carry the conference, but they knew they didn't have the accomplishments behind the both of them, even combined, to carry the entire conference. So it folded, which is the reason why I say if USC can pull off in the next 4 to 5 seasons 2 championships, especially back-to-back. I'm saying this today. If USC can pull off 2 championships back-to-back in the next 4 to 5 seasons, they can pack up, go back out west, and get the TV deal they want, and we won't have to worry about flying out to New Jersey to play Rutgers on a Saturday night after dark. We could do that, at Pac-12 and the Pac-12 after dark if that's the way, the conference is going to do us. We don't have to worry about flying out to Illinois to play, an Illinois team at 11 a.m. in the morning. We don't have to worry about that. But USC must first get its credibility back. And I want to say, I said this on Light the Torch one day, we were talking about it. They have to get their credibility back. Once they build their credibility back, they can pack up and head back out west, man, and form the conference all over again.
Man,
Austin said the toothpaste not going back in the tube. Shout out, Austin.
I think it can, Austin. You can come up later. We can talk about it.
I don't know, bro. I see 4 or 5 years from now, it'd be 2 conferences, a West Coast and an East Coast. Run by in the Big Ten.
But what I'm saying is this: we won't have to go way out to New Jersey to play those games, man. I'm telling you, they only doing us like this because we don't have the credibility we used to have, and it's been 2 decades since we've been at the top. It's starting to come back with the recruiting, but now we just got to put the product on the field.
As far as having to travel to Jersey and places like that, those teams got to travel to California too. I don't think
they're not us though.
I mean, all Big Ten teams have to travel to the West as well. And it's not that I don't think that's a personal attack against USC. USC decided to go to the Big Ten. When they went to the Big Ten, we knew that was going to come with it. There's no way around it. So USC decided to leave the Pac-12 because how the Pac-12 was being ran and the media deal was terrible and all that. And so they went to the Big Ten. But going to the Big Ten, USC knew what was going to happen. Just like Stanford knew going to the ACC, they was going to have to travel coast to coast for some games. The ACC knew that their teams over there, Virginia, Miami, they were going to have to travel all the way out west. You know, it's part of it, right? I'm not a fan of the SEC and I always root against them, but you know what the SEC did good was that they took teams that's already in their region, right? They took Texas, Oklahoma. They already got teams on the central time zone and all that, right? So they were smart. They didn't go far out and forcing their teams to have to do that travel because they brought teams in right there in the region, right next door.
All their games are within one time zone of one another. That barely crossing the Mississippi.
I want to read what Austin says real quick. Austin says we love the Pac-10 or the Pac-12, but the future was in the Big Ten. Best decision USC ever made. From a financial standpoint, I agree with that 100%.
From a media standpoint, and a TV deal standpoint, yes. Because
hold on. Are y'all sure? What if USC would have went independent?
I don't think we had the credibility to go independent. I think had we gone independent when Carroll was there, yeah. Can we get to that point? Can we get to that point? Of course we can. Of course we can.
And to go and at the level where we were playing on when we left, to go independent, again, you're talking about the TV deals and all that, right? A lot of issues the Pac-12 had with TV rights and deals is just because of the time zone, right? From west to eastern. All those late night games and all that, most of the people in bed sleep. You know, the viewership is not on there. So even if we were independent, we're talking about all early games, and we still would have had to find some type of deal with somebody, with Fox, ABC, somebody that wanted to give us a type deal that NBC given Notre Dame.
Let me ask you a question.
What year did we go to the Big Ten? Was it?
We've been in the Big Ten for 2 years now.
23.
This will be our third season in the Big Ten.
So it was the year after we went 11-4.
Yeah, it was Caleb's last season. It was Caleb's last season.
Okay. Caleb last season was in the Pac-12. We was what, 75?
No. We was in the Big Ten his last season.
No, we were not. Caleb last season, we were in the Pac-12.
You're correct. It was Miller Moss' first season.
That's why I asked. That's why I couldn't remember.
You're correct. I was wrong. You're correct. Let me ask you a question. Both of you guys a question. Do you think at Pete Carroll's height at USC, we could have gone independent?
Man, when during that time before the sanction, we could have done whatever we wanted to.
That's what I'm saying.
The sky was the limit. The sky was the limit then.
That's what I'm saying.
When
USC is
in the Pete Carroll. When are you talking about? After we won 2 championships?
Pete Carroll really had one down year, and that was the first year. He had 6-6 season, and I think the last season was 9-4. But I'm talking about at his peak at USC, could have.
So he talking about Bush, Lindell. He talking about them that 3-year tenure.
Even all the way up to Sanchez. Even all the way up to Sanchez, we didn't lose but one game that season against Oregon State. So when USC is rolling, I don't
think it's about winning games. It's not just about winning games. It's about winning championships and star power. That's why I asked the question. When are you talking? Are you talking after the first championship, before the first championship, after the second one, after the loss to Texas? Like, when are you talking? Because it all matters.
Well, USC was relevant, again, all the way up until Mark Sanchez first and final season starting at quarterback. We were in the Rose Bowl. We were actually there was a strong argument we should have been in that national championship game against Florida. There was a strong argument that, hey, look, USC was getting penalized for what the SEC was not getting penalized for, and that was losing one game. So when you look at Pete Carroll's entire seasons, his entire tenure at USC, he was in New Year's Six bowl games every year, except for 2. First and the last season. So again, when USC is rolling, man, USC is on top.
Back then, all you had to do was win the Pac-10 to be in the Rose Bowl. The Pac-10 winner and the Big Ten winner.
You can still win the Pac-10 with 2 or 3 losses, but what I'm saying is this: we still had the players in the depth to compete and win with even down to the second string. We had the players in the depth to win in order to get in the conversation. Back then, we were talking about only two teams that was going to make the national. Well, we didn't have a playoff then, but we were still top 3 or 4. Arguably, I think once USC has it rolling, man, they got just as much pull, especially with that LA market. They got just as much pull to get an independent deal like a Notre Dame. That's the only reason why Notre Dame hadn't jumped into a conference, because of that TV deal with NBC, and I don't blame them. People say, "Well, hey, stall them out. Don't let them into the college football playoff." But I would, if you were getting TV money like that, you wouldn't split your pot either. I don't blame Notre Dame for not jumping in a conference. For what? We getting paid.
I also don't think that.
What's that?
I don't even know if the money. I don't even think the money was as big as it is now. Back then.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I was just comparing the two.
Yeah, man. The biggest thing and the ultimate collapse of the Pac-12 and the issue was it was that bad streaming deal, right? They couldn't get media rights. They couldn't get the Pac-12 games on primetime TV in at 11 o'clock Central, 2:30 Central spots and stuff like that. It was a lot of Pac-12 after dark, and it wasn't getting a whole lot of viewership. And then they went to that streaming deal, and people wasn't buying that streaming deal like that. That was the ultimate collapse, because it came down to the Pac-12 gonna stay or not. It was came down to what's the new media deal gonna be. That's what it was all the way about. And the Pac-12 enlarged in charge of the Pac-12. They couldn't secure a media deal, so USC was like, "We gone." So once we left, everybody else left. If USC would have stayed, everybody else would have stayed in that terrible streaming deal. Mm-hmm. But once USC got out of there, they was like, "Oh, we going too."
Yeah. And trust me, if USC were to leave and go back out west, Oregon would follow, Washington would follow, and so would UCLA. Both of them, all three of them would follow us right back out to the West Coast. But let's switch gears real quick. The hot topic, right? Zach Branch. Zachariah Branch. I don't want to say his name wrong. I heard he get offended if you say Zach Branch. I don't want to, be disrespectful to the kid's name. Zach Branch said on what was it, St. Brown's show, that the reason why he left USC is because they won't allow him in the weight room after hours. Now, me myself personally, I don't believe it. I know, you don't want to say certain things to discredit the kid, but I've never seen a coach stop any kid from lifting weights, especially when you can lift weights early in the morning. But I want to get you guys' opinion, that you weigh in on it. This whole weight room issue. I remember Stephon Johnson. Shout out to Stephon Johnson, man, one of the great USC running backs. I think he deserved more of a shot in the NFL than what he got. I think he was a great USC running back. But he had a weight fall on his throat. Back in the day, we talk about back in 2009, 2010 when that happened. And Zach Branch said because of that now, 2009. Now, unless there was another weight room incident that happened since then, I haven't heard of one. But I don't think that Zach Branch using that, gave his story any legs, any credibility. Well, not any legs, but any credibility. Him saying that, hey, look, I couldn't lift weight, so I decided to leave. I'm thinking maybe they asked him to take a pay cut.
So my take on it, and yeah, shout out to Stephon Johnson. Stephon Johnson actually did play in the NFL for the Titans, but you remember in the preseason, he had that career ended. He broke his leg and his ankle. It was nasty. Okay. He broke his ankle and his leg in preseason in 2010. So but here's my take on it. Do USC have a rule around that due to that? I mean, we know how USC is with how they was with the sanctions and things like that. Like once you get burnt, I don't know if USC has a rule like that or not. But here's my take on it. Playing college football, we can get in whenever we want it, especially with modern day technology. Back in the day, we had to get, hey, coach, let me in, get the key, one of the trainers or something like that. Now I'm sure they probably got biometrics, right? Where you look in something and open it up for you, or your thumbprint or something like that to get in.
Right.
But if USC do got that rule, I do know if I couldn't get in the football weight room, I can always go to what we call a hyper center, right? That's where the pool is. the basketball courts, the gym, and all that, just for the regular students and all that. And
it
was open. It was well, ours is our hyper center is separate than the student center, 2 different buildings. But yeah, but that was open at 12 o'clock at night. So and then you got 24-hour fitness if you want to work out. But so I'm not gonna say the young man is telling the story, but what I am gonna say is I don't believe that was the number one bullet, right? There's been jobs and things I left, and there's been a plethora of reasons, right? And I feel like if he had a list of 10 things why he left, that was at the bottom of the list.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like one.
Let me ask you a question.
What was at the top?
What was at the top?
I feel like number one. I feel like number one was that I was replaced by Makai Lemon at kickoff return, and he started getting my wide receiver stuff. I seen what was coming. I seen that Makai Lemon and Lane was the next best thing. The second thing is now I'm mad. You pulled me off the field. I'm not returning kicks anymore, this and this. The second thing is what Leon's saying, money and opportunity, right? But I feel like that first one opened up the door to being replaced on kickoff return and that wide receiver, and seeing these other guys shine, open the door for it to even be willing to entertain conversations around more money. I think those were the top 2 reasons. But the man said that was his reason. I ain't gonna call him a story. I think for him that could have been a reason, but like I said, if it was on the list of 10 things, that was number 10. You know what I'm saying? That was number 10.
If you remember at one point during the season, and I was puzzled by it.
And Austin saying his NIL was reduced as well, so that go with what Leon saying, the money.
Well, if you're not the star receiver, of course your NIL going to be reduced. But at one point during the season, he started, and I can't. Well, I don't know whether I want to attribute this to him protesting, but he stopped returning punts. He would field every last one of them. I don't know whether I don't know if you guys recall it or not.
He stopped doing that like game. He stopped doing that. That was like game 2. Yeah, like he would just fair catch.
Right. Every punt he would fair catch it. I'm like, well, what's going on with him? Well, first of all, his second season, he
Roger Dodgers that gold gym membership.
Well,
something though, man.
Go ahead.
But Leon, it didn't. Makai Lemon didn't get to work. If that's the rule, Makai Lemon didn't get a job work or weights after practice, all that. He was still able to win the Biletnikoff.
That was going to be my plea. This interview does not make Zacharias Mr. Branch look good at all.
Yeah,
Zachariah. It doesn't make him look good at all to say that you put in all this work. And one thing we all know about playing football, the tape don't lie. The tape is right there, the eye in the sky, all that, right?
It is what it is. Right. It is what it is.
If y'all remember, listen, the guy who came in with you, who was looked at as the number 4 wide receiver that year, because you came in with Deuce, you came in with Zach, and you came in with
Lane.
Levy was looked at as the 4th wide receiver. They even put him on at cornerback.
Yeah,
they put him way far away from playing wide receiver.
Right.
And he came back and took your kickoff returns, took your punt returns, and then took your wide receiver duties and wound up being the Biletnikoff winner. Mm-hmm. So obviously, he found the time to put the work in, and all that work that he put in translated to the field, something that we didn't see with Mr. Branch. So to sit there and say the reason why you left is because you couldn't catch us on the jug machine or you couldn't go soak, bruh, go down the street, call one of them shorties. Hey, I need you to bring 10 bags of ice so I can put in the bathtub so I can ice up tonight. I know you got it's LA. You a star on USC. I know you probably got 30 chicks that you can call to bring you everything you need, bro. It don't look good, man.
Shout out to the Oregon Duck fan, man, for joining the live. Hey, listen, I hope you subscribe to 4th and 9. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that bell for notification for when we go live.
It don't sound good.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing too, right? Like in college, our weight room and where jug machines and all that, 2 separate places. So if they have something that says you can't lift weights after an hour, that ain't got nothing to do with you. I was about to call it our practice facility and doing all the call it Pepsi Center. I was about to say the Pepsi Center. But that ain't got nothing to do with you going in there to do jug machines. But like one of the biggest things you could have done, and you didn't even need no builder, you could have did any grass, and that's work on your route tree.
You don't need the weight room for that. And I agree with you 100%. Your issue wasn't the weight. You're strong enough. Get out there on that field and run some of them routes. Get on that jug machine. Get one of them backup quarterbacks to start throwing you some passes. Yeah, go ahead.
How many passes did he drop? He needed that jug machine work, bro.
And here's the thing, Riley. If you go back and look at that season, Leon and Chris, Riley forced the ball to him. I mean, on screen plays to the boundary, on long routes, they were throwing 50-50 balls. So I'm like, what is Riley doing? And I'm thinking he was trying to keep him happy there. Maybe he had some, he started showing signs of, he wasn't happy.
I'm gonna be honest though. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest though, B, right? Because Riley called the plays, he don't dictate where the ball go. That's on the quarterback. Right, Miller Moss was.
You got a first read. You got a first read. Yes.
But you still got to go through your progressions and all that. This ain't Pop Warner where you say Pro Riley throw to Jenkins, Pro Riley strip Jenkins. It ain't Pop Warner where that's what I'm saying. Right. But like, and so Miller Moss, because of what the flashes that Brent showed on special teams, right? I mean, his freshman year All-American. Like we always say that he wasn't an All-American wide receiver that year.
It was special team.
Yeah. He, and so, and then a lot with the screen game as well. Our screen game immediately picked up when Jaden Mava came in because he was able to get the ball there a lot quicker than Moss. His arm was stronger, right? So the person with the ball had a better opportunity to read, run, and react off the blockers. But what we've seen is that early in the year when Moss was at quarterback, a lot of things were going to Branch, wasn't working out. When Jaden Mava came in, it immediately started going to Lemon and Lane.
Everywhere. Yeah, Lemon and Lane. Right. I noticed that. But you go ahead, Leon.
I was listening to Mark Culkin, right? And
Mark is funny. Mark is funny. I like Mark.
He even said, "I'm not trying to call Branch a liar, but when they do their player interviews after practice, there's players out there on the jug machines out on the field all the time. So this whole thing about the jug machines only being in the McKay Center, he don't know about that. And I'm actually looking at a satellite photo right now. I think I see some jug machines out there right now. So
and like Chris,
that's what I was saying. The jug machines, I have never seen the jug machines and that type of stuff inside the weight room, the weight facility.
Right. And like Chris was said, that didn't stop the Biletnikoff winner from Makai Lemon and catching balls and working out. He had no problem with it. And maybe St. Brown just didn't. Maybe Amon-Ra just didn't want to call him out on the show.
He did, but you seen his face.
If I'm Amon-Ra, I'm just giving him just a silent stare. Even when he's done talking, I'm just staring at him. I'm like dude,
when he say it, go back and look at it. Like go back and look at it and see the face that St. Brown had on. It's like a smirk, like a laugh, like disbelief, like, man, I ain't believing this, but I ain't gonna call you out on it.
Right. If I'm Zachariah's agent, I'm good. After that interview, I'm gonna say, yo, don't ever say that again, bro. Don't ever say that again. you had 15 drops in one season. Judge machine ain't gonna help that. You gotta look the ball.
Man, it's a simple way to get out of it. Why you leave USC? I just felt it was time for me to leave, and I had a better opportunity at Georgia.
Exactly.
And that would have been the end of it. Nobody would be talking about it. It wouldn't be all over social media. You know what I'm saying? Like that could have been the end of it.
Well, it makes it a contradictory statement when you got a receiver like Makai Lemon come to the very same season and win a Biletnikoff from USC. It makes it
add this to it to make it more that took your spot.
Yeah, they took your spot. That's why you left. If we want to be honest about it, no, I left because of Makai Lemon. Did you see him? Yeah, he crazy. And shout out to Drake London, man. Drake London just signed a 4-year, $141 million with $100 guaranteed, man.
Yeah, he getting paid.
That's what comes out of USC. I've never heard a USC receiver say, "Hey, look, I couldn't get in the weight room on the field to get some extra work in." I've never heard them say that.
Guess what? I ain't never heard of a Georgia wide receiver getting paid. Well, maybe I don't know, but in the last 5-10 years, I'm still looking for a Georgia wide receiver. Y'all seen one?
Yeah, right. we got We got one for the Chargers. We drafted 2 years ago. He our best receiver the last couple of years.
One. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we could run down a whole list of USC.
Yeah.
wide
It just
receivers in
won
the
out of
first.
it. Just one out of Georgia.
Yeah, you feel me? So yeah, that just looks bad, bro. That looks real bad.
Yeah. But I don't know if I was St. Brown, if I could have probably sat quiet, I would have been like, are you sure? I would have been like, man, come on. Come on.
Yeah. Shout out to the Ducks fan. Go ahead.
And I'm gonna tell the truth. I didn't watch the entire video, entire interview. So I don't know if he said other reasons too and all that. But you know, that part right there is what's been shot around, been thrown in social media. That's the biggest thing you see. So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch his entire interview with St. Brown, so I don't know if he gave some other reasons, and that's the part that people wanted to take and throw out there. But you know, he said it.
Yeah. Shout out to Wayman Mulholland. He says, "Why did Deuce leave?" Thought we had another. That's Mitch. Oh,
yeah, that's Mitch.
Mitch. My bad. Shout out to Mitch, man. He says, "Why does Deuce leave?" Thought we had another Aaron Judge. He played center field for USC baseball. Deuce left for the very same reason Zach left. He had Kobe Lane in front of him, and they asked him to take a pay cut. That's simple. You can play baseball anywhere. If your primary objective is to play football, which is why I think he came to USC, they were going to allow him to play both. But hey, look, you know your path to the NFL was probably going to pay you more. I don't think Deuce was considered to be one of the top MLB draft picks, but he was considered to be a 5-star coming out of high school. So, but that was in football. So
he's pretty good at baseball. So he went to Florida. Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
But which one's gonna be more lucrative though?
His dad went to Florida State as well. And so yeah. And see, with like Deuce, I wouldn't say it's because he's seen how great Lemonade Lane is, because while Deuce got time, he didn't start, and he didn't get as much time as Branch. Branch was a starter, right? So I would think Deuce was like, man, this wide receiver room is just so packed. I want to go somewhere where I can be the main guy, the number one guy, be out on the field every time and get more playing time. I think that's what he came down with Deuce with.
Well, you remember, if you go back to last season, I said that, you know, when we moved from the Pac-12, well, first of all, Riley recruited those type of receivers, that many receivers, because we were in Pac-12. Chances are you're going to get 85 to 90 plays per game, simply because the Pac-12 throws the ball around. And the Big Ten is different. You're going to get more run plays. So, you know, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. We didn't need four 5-star recruiters on a roster like that. I mean, wide receivers on the roster like that, because they weren't going to get the balls. They wouldn't have to divide up the ball.
But guess what, B? We still doing it.
Yeah, we still doing it, but
look at all the 4 or 5-star wide receivers we brought in this class.
Yeah, but all of them not going to get on the field like that. Again, I expect.
Well, now we starting to run.
Like yeah.
Now we starting to run that 12-man set a whole lot. When we're going 2 tight ends, so that takes one of the receivers off instead of going 4 wide receivers. Yeah.
And I expect for Riley to really help Jay Maeva out this season by running the ball. If you notice, every year he's increased his running plays. So again, leaving the Pac-12 going into the Big Ten, I said, hey, look, you know, we're not going to be throwing the ball around that much. And if you're not catching the ball like that, why you need to pay all of these receivers? You need 2 good receivers, in which we kept Lemon and Lane. I said that we're gonna keep the best 2 receivers, Lemon and Lane. The rest of them, hey, look, either you take a pay cut, or hey, look, we wish you well. And that's what happened. Happened.
Lincoln Riley going to run the ball this year. You got
he gonna run the ball.
2 1,000-yard rushers if you just give them the rock.
Just give them the rock, man. Just give them the rock.
Then on top, and then they're talking about upgrading the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball with bigger players, more stout players, experienced players. And I'll tell you this: for the whole thing about Tobias Raymond moving to center, Killen O'Connor did a really good job at center last year before he got hurt.
Good job. He just got to stay healthy.
Really? Yeah. Before injury prone. They were running the rock. So. And on top of that, USC ran the ball more than they threw the ball last year. So I see that continue to increase, like you said.
They're gonna do it again this season when you got those type of rushers. I didn't think, even though they knew what type of running back that King Miller was, I don't think that they expected for it to translate that early onto the field last season. And if Chris, you can remember one of our first shows.
Austin say, kill. He said, hold on, Leon. Leon. He said, Killian did not do a good job. Leon.
And if you remember one of our first shows, shout out to B. Jones and Light the Torch. Shout out to B. Jones and Light the Torch. If you remember one of our first shows last season, I told Chris, I said, Chris, I want to see this kid with the ones. Chris was like, nah, we got, Eli Sanders, we got running backs for that. I was like, nah, Chris, this kid right here is different. Go ahead, Leon.
But if you go back and listen to all the fall interviews, every time they interviewed Lincoln Riley said that kid is breaking long touchdowns every practice. He was saying that before the season even started. So I think,
but we also had a first-hand account.
USC staff.
B. Jones knew.
B. Jones knew about it.
Yeah,
B. Jones came out of spring telling us, "Hey man, we got this kid King Miller." Who was like, who? Who was like the walk-on? He was like, man. He was like, I went to walk on him back. Get out of here. He was like, nah, man. B. Jones put us on. He was telling us King Miller in the spring. He was like, man, this kid breaking runs, man. Like he got it. Yeah, B. Jones put.
I remember saying, telling Chris, I was like, man, I want to see this kid with the ones. This kid right here, he looks special. I think that Riley knew about him.
You said that the first game of the season against
the first game. Yeah.
Missouri. Yeah, I fought you on it. I was like, man, we see.
Again, I think Riley. Of course, Riley knew about him, but I don't think Riley expected for it to translate that early. I thought maybe he was thinking, okay, this kid's going to be, a project. He's looking good in practice, but we got these two in front of him. I expect for one of these, one or two of these guys to be gone next season, and we'll slide King Miller in, give him a shot, and some wrap up. But this kid took off. He took off in that Michigan game.
Man, he took off from the first two games. I mean,
he took off before then, but I'm talking about what he really shined at. 30, what was it? 30 and 20, 30 and 25?
Yeah.
Michigan.
So this is what I think
That's
Riley
he
was
put
thinking.
everybody on
the game. Yeah. He didn't even start that game either.
This is what I think Riley. This is what I think Riley and the staff probably was thinking coming with King Miller out of spring last year, because it's things that I seen in the season. Yes, he has that home run potential, but they probably wasn't expecting him to see the field with three other backs in front of him, and was going to and wanted to keep them practice for his hands to get better. He had a lot of drops, passes, and also he struggled in blocking, and he struggled in pass blocking, right? Yeah. Like that was one of the biggest issues we had once Waymo. That's what I was saying about Waymo. Like Waymo wasn't just a runner. Waymo can catch, and his pass blocking was superior to anybody else we had, right? So I'm hoping they work, because you can remember after Waymo Eli went out and we were doing position groups and all that, we built a game. I'm like, man, come on, you got to help your line out with that. If somebody coming straight through, you can't whiff on that. And so while he had that home run potential in that part, there were some other aspects of his game I think they were trying to bring along before they was like, okay, he ready, let's throw him in. But due to injury and all that, and the kid's special, man. I don't care if the other team know he got to run the ball. If he can't pass block, take him out when it's a pass. Take him out.
The thing about
let him run the ball.
The difference between him and Waymo was, like you said, Waymo
the experience with
the blitz. And he had experience coming from the JUCO rankings, and picking up a pass blitz at the high school level is totally different than the college level. So while he had some experience, at the high school level, he didn't have it at the college level. So I expect for him to be better at that this season, though. I expect for him to be better catching the ball out the backfield. I expect for King Miller to be better picking up pass blitz and calling out pass blitzing when Jaden Maeva didn't recognize it. Yeah, my bad. Jaden Maeva didn't recognize it. I expect for him to be better. And Leon is right.
He got some more size on him. He got some more size on him too, so that's gonna help him. You know what I'm saying?
Way different.
That's gonna help him be able to to block them linebackers and stuff that's coming in and not get bull rushed and all that.
And running the ball does what? Go ahead, Leon.
Now I was just gonna say I saw a clip of him during the spring practice. One of you know how they put those clips out every once in a while.
Right.
He came from the right-hand sideline, dip, spin move, cut, and was going. And the one thing I always said that I didn't like about him this past year during the season, it seemed like he only had one cut and then he was straight ahead and he ain't really had no wiggle to him. Now it look like he got that Waymo in him. Like he can jump cut, spin on you, hit another cut, and still accelerate the top gear. Yo, he gonna be a problem.
Well, when you're out running everybody, you don't need all of that when you're out running everybody, right? But yeah.
Well, here's another difference though, right? When the offensive line gets beat, right? I want to see this year if Miller can create his own yardage. We've seen Waymo get hit in the backfield, make people miss, go take it for 12 yards, right? Waymo can get his own yards. We've seen a lot of times Miller gets stopped in the background, in the backfield, not because of his fault, off the line, just getting beat. But you got, yeah. But when that was with Waymo had the ability to make the person miss, break the tackle, and still get 2 or 3 yards. And sometimes he broke. Remember 4th and 1 against Michigan, Waymo busted for like 12 yards. With being hit in the backfield.
Threw the defensive lineman down to the ground. Remember that play?
But I wanted to touch on that.
We don't see that on King Miller.
I wanted to touch on. I think I lost the comment. Who said it? Trojan fight maybe, and somebody said right on. Season comes. Okay, Roger Dodger. No game for rush yard. Somebody said it comes down. Oh, season comes down to can you run the ball when the other team is stacking the line of scrimmage? I'm gonna say it a little different. What football comes down to is that can you run the ball when you want to run the ball? And can you stop the run? That's the basics. Somebody else said that the season going to come down to the offensive line. It's going to come down to the offensive line and the defensive line, right? The basics of football, in order to win, you have to be able to, and Trojan fight on top of him. I know it was back to back. But the basics of football, you have to be able to run the ball and be able to stop the run. If you can't do those two things, it's going to be a long season. And a lot of times people say, well, we average 6 yards a carry that game. But what we say, men lie, women lie. Numbers don't lie, but they could be misleading, right? Because there's a difference. If you look at us last year, you look at our average, we can see that was our average. The year before, we had like a 7-yard average, but our running game was inconsistent. It was -1 yard, -2 yards, 12 yards. Then the next 4 plays would be 1 yard, 1 yard, 0 yards, -1 yard.
You see a big we'll break along.
Then we'll break along. Right. That's not running the ball efficiently. What we did last year was running the ball efficiently, where you barely have negative plays, that everything you're doing is 2-3 yards or more. You know what I mean? That's the type of run game that you want. You want to be able to run the ball when you want to run the ball. That TCU game on the goal line, and we had first and goal. And we ended up with 3rd and 20.
That was awful. Another thing running the ball does what? Another thing running the ball does, it accomplishes
open up your downfield passing.
Keeping your quarterback upright, keeping him out of harm's way. If you can run the ball, like we're saying, I understand that Heisman Trophy is Lincoln Riley's thing. I get it, but you can also win a Heisman Trophy running, with a running back too. So if you got a special kid like a Waymo, if you got a special kid like a King Miller, who's now one more year experience, give him the ball, man. You got this massive offensive line. Give him the ball. It slows down the pass rush, like Chris said. So when you do want to go play action, now you don't have to worry about the defensive ends pinning their ears back and coming back after them. Coming after your quarterback hard.
What it's going to do is it's going to draw those linebackers and safeties biting and come down. That's when you're able to go over their head. But we got to give Riley his props, because what I just broke down, we've seen a difference, right? Leon always states it out. He's our resident statistician, I like to call him. He broke out how many more times we ran the ball than passed last year. And the reason that is because we were able to run the ball consistently. right? The year before, everybody's like, run the ball. But we was in second and long, third and long all the time because we couldn't run the ball consistently when we had Moss at the quarterback and all that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think we're going to see it again. He's going to continue to run the ball. I mean, there were games last year where the run was not working at all. That the offensive line was just getting dominated, and he still continued to run the ball. Like
against Notre Dame.
Yeah. Even against Oregon, he attempted. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna see it. We average about 2.7 against the playoff teams. That's true, Austin, and that's true that we couldn't run the ball in those big games. It was
do I gotta bring up why? Were the starters
go ahead,
at the beginning of the
year
starting those games? Absolutely not. Against Oregon, we started a walk-on freshman in Miller. You know what I'm saying? In the other game,
Notre Dame,
our All-American left tackle wasn't playing. You know what I mean? Like
Illinois.
We had to think about these things. Like, here's the other thing. We want to talk about stats. One of our running backs was number 2 in the nation in yards after contact. That's Waymon Jordan. You want to talk about being able to Leon making excuses. Hey, Austin, when I come to LA, man, make sure you come to dinner with us, man, so we can chat it up, buddy. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, if you look at when we had our starters in there and they ran the ball, it's different when we had walk-on freshmen.
That is
with no experience.
That is true. But coming into 2026, I don't care who gets injured along the offensive line. With the depth and talent we have now, we can't use that as an excuse no more.
But I'm not going to use that excuse. But here's the thing, Chris. I don't listen. Offensively, I don't see us having no problems over there. If you look at the games that we lost, the Notre Dame game, the Oregon game,
we still were able to move the ball.
We were in those games in the second half
without being able to run the ball.
Stopping the run is the key to the season. Period. Point blank. I want to hear about the offensive line. I want to hear about the running backs. I don't want to hear about the wide receivers. I don't want to hear about the cornerbacks. The year is going to stop with stopping the run.
Can we not give up? Can we not give up 5 or 6 yards of carry? Can we not have? Can we not have our
in the playoffs?
Can we not give up 3rd and 20 on a screenplay? Can we not give up 3rd and 20 on a screenplay? Right?
B. Can we not have? Can we not have our 3 techniques in the laps of our linebacker 7 and 10 yards down the field?
Right. Absolutely.
No disrespect. We ain't got no Keyshawn Silver.
Look, I got a problem with that too. Don't get me wrong. I got a problem with that too. I just don't like giving up 3rd and 20 on a screenplay. That's what I don't like giving up.
It got the boy high stepping down the sideline.
High stepping down the sideline, man. You push that guy out of the bounds, we win that game.
But here's
the 3rd and 20. Yeah.
Well, they would had a chance at a field goal to take it to another overtime, but
they were too far. I don't think they would have kicked a 50-yard field goal. I don't think that guy would have made. He had already missed
they would have got. But here's the issue. My problem is not giving up a pass. I mean, just that on 3rd and 20. It's not being able to get off the field on 3rd and long period, which we struggled all last year. I mean, they were 3rd and 12s. I mean, UCLA converted 2 3rd and 13s in a row. You know what I'm saying? That's my issue. I don't. If it's 3rd and 10 or more, we should be able to get off the field.
Oh, you
got to be able to get off the field. And with GP and his attacking defense is going to be all to stop the run. I think one area we struggle with under Lynn because of his philosophy was basically keep everything in front of him, let them work their way down the field. See if they make a mistake. We can get a turnover. Yeah, with GP more aggressive, I think we're going to actually see a lot more 3 and outs. I was begging for 3. I was like, man, I didn't want to
tell Chris what you told me, what we discussed about the linebacker Desmond Stevens, and potentially seeing a different
Chris
look on the
defense because he was in the chat. Him and B Jones was talking about it. So Chris, what I brought up to B Jinx was in the group chat. B Jones had posted the video of USC, and at
I posted that. I posted that.
Or somebody posted it, and they said,
and
"Hey,
B Jones responded
at the end of that video, And at the end of the video, they had Desmond Stevens lined up like he was a defensive end in a 3-point
No,
spread.
so what the video is, you can go see it on the USC YouTube page. It says, do a sign to let us know what position you make. So like King Miller did like this, to run the ball, Jay Marvin like he was throwing it. Desmond Stevens was last, and he put his hand down on the ground like he was coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that might be a new.
So I don't know if they moving him. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta remember. You gotta remember one of the USC, one of the great USC linebackers will come off the edge every blue moon during the PK era. We talk about Clay Matthews. A lot of times, Clay Matthews will line up on the edge, and if you got him lined up behind a rush end or a defensive end.
I mean, Gentry. We used to play Gentry on the. We used to play Gentry on the end. That's where he shined the best.
Yeah,
that's
but Clay Matthews was a different monster, though, man. We talking about Clay Matthews lining up on.
No, I'm just saying, as far as linebackers at USC that we have put, Gentry, not last season, but the year before he got injured, where he was having an All-American year. That's because we were lining him up on the end a lot because we had Cobb and Mascarenas to play those other two linebackers. Last year, Gentry had to play that stand up.
Gentry in 2024 in Michigan, boy, he was putting foot that.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, let's talk about this.
I know.
Look at Roger Dodger first.
All right, hold on. Let me go to him.
Because I'm gonna say this: last year, like you can't hold people prisoner till they pass, right? At some point, you got to release them, let them out for good behavior. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We can't continue to put in Maeva that he suffered from poor decision and poor choices when that was in the 4-game stand. Last year, we didn't see that from Maeva at all. Which is why his play increased and he had the type of season he had, right? It's going to be quarterbacks throw interceptions. You look at as Leon said, you look at all the quarterbacks that's listed as the top quarterbacks, and they all had the same around the same amount of interceptions. And
Dante Moore had 10 interceptions, just like Miami.
And Sayin, and Mendoza, So, and then you have to look at it like this: 4 of Miami interceptions came in the same 2 games when we were down to Oregon and Notre Dame, and most of them was last-second heaves, just trying to make something happen because we were down 2 scores.
Yep.
He says USC was plus 22 first year on the Grinch, which was in the Pac-12, of course. Second year, USC was minus 3. Yeah, we that team.
We talked about that last week, remember?
Yeah, we talked about that. Team. Yeah.
That was your question. Yep. I had asked you in 2026, will we haven't had a plus ratio in turnovers since the first year Riley been here. Will we have it next year? You said yes, this coming season.
Yeah. We scored fast that first year. Riley and Caleb got to USC. We scored really fast, and I think I always say, even though we won a lot of games, that kind of hurt Riley because that was setting the bench, right? They were setting the benchmark for him. That's what they expected. And I want to say that's part of why they were kind of slow with giving him his resources. Hey, well, if you showed that you can win without your resources, what you need them for. You understand what I'm saying? We attacked the portal heavy, almost kind of like what Indiana did over the past couple of seasons. We always hit that running back, which Riley has been fortuitous at hitting that running back. We brought the quarterback in, which is why, what's my man name? Jackson Dart got out of town. We brought the quarterback in, and we had a pretty good offensive line. And so
what happened in that first year? But you got to look at it. What happened in that first year? He was able to flip that whole roster in the portal. NIL wasn't like it is now, right? Mm-hmm. It you know what I'm saying, when that happened. And what happened after that first year is we wasn't able to get that same type of class that next year. Like nowhere even close. You know what I'm saying? And so and Helton didn't leave nothing in the cupboard. You know what I mean, as far as talent wise. So that first year we was able to get Jordan Addison, Brandon Rice, all them guys in. Child. I mean, we was able to flip that roster for that first year, and then that second year we was not able to replicate that portal that we had. And Roger Dodgers, I'm not saying Jaden Marva don't make mistakes. Every quarterback make mistakes, but I'm saying to put him in the category of what he was in 2024 is not fair. He's not going out there running around to the right and throwing the ball over his head or fumbling the ball, doing all that stuff he was doing that first year. Like he's making the same amount of mistakes that every other top quarterback will make. Nobody's perfect. But to put him in a category that he doesn't make smart decisions after the year he had, he just proved that to be false.
Right. And he was definitely better than what we had. I will say that. But hold on a second. Okay.
I know how you feel about that.
I'm about to. We're a little bit over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and open it up real quick so some callers can come on. We'll invite you guys up two at a time. And then
why they coming up be about their first year at Grinch? That I don't care how fast we scored or how slow we scored. That defense was going to get scored on. That defense was either it was either turnover or touchdown. And I knew how bad that defense was in the first game when we was in a shootout with Rice.
And like I said, look at the Tulane game, man. That Tulane game was awful.
That's the second year when we didn't get as many turnovers. But that no, that's the first year. Yeah, that was the first year.
It was the first year. The Tulane game was the first year. That was the game that Brendan Rice played out of his mind, man, and we lost that game.
And we was up. We was up 2 scores in like 10 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna drop that link. Go ahead and hit the link, man, and come on up. Marva, man, listen. We just need to keep him upright this season. And I say if it take running the ball 65% of the time, do it. Use those running backs, man. Use that big offensive line. That's what you got them for. Hold on. Walter Clark, our first caller. Walter Clark, how you doing, my man?
Fine. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Great to have you on the show, my man.
Hey.
What's your thoughts on it?
Hey, Austin just hit me back about that. Hey, B, when you see this, you're gonna be even mad about the Tulane game.
What's that?
The scary Austin said the scary thing about the Tulane game was Tulane only ran 50 plays and scored 50 points.
That's a corner play. Walter Clark, go ahead, my man. What were you saying?
You guys were, God, I lost my train of thought. But you guys were talking about the team coming out this year, and I think we're going to have some very interesting games. Especially with the Oregon game, because that'll be the first serious team they play in their schedule, and it'll be the first serious game we play in our schedule. And it'll be interesting to see how prepared they are, because they have a problem with their offensive line. They got to replace 3 starters. So it'll be really interesting to see.
And Walter, and offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Yeah, exactly.
And they brought in something like 30 transfers, I think, in the portal.
Yeah. So I mean, they all talk about how great their talent is up there, but all the recruiting that they do, they still go heavy into the portal, which I can never understand.
Well, they want to live and die by the transfer portal. They don't want to develop, right? They haven't proven yet since Lanning been there to develop anybody. Every quarterback they get in the transfer portal, even they wide, what I'm saying, they're wide receiver. So they gonna live and die by the portal. Oh, let us go get, we got the money. Let's go spend money on the best players that we already know what they can do and bring them in. That way we ain't got to worry about a rebuild or down year, or even that's why so many they get these 5-star recruits and all that, and a year later you see what they all transferring out.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to Kelsey Dickey. I appreciate you joining the show. Kelsey Dickey says Oregon is loaded this year.
They're loaded every year. They have a big transfer portal.
Yeah. Appreciate you joining the show. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like and hit the bell for notifications. Austin, my man, what you got for us, Austin?
How you guys doing?
What's going on, Austin?
Austin, what's happening, buddy?
What's going on, Leon?
Wait, somebody got a.
Somebody got
Somebody got. Somebody got
Hold on,
YouTube
hold on.
on.
Somebody
I gotta
got
mute somebody. Hold on, I'm gonna
I gotta
mute.
mute
Hold on.
somebody. Hold on, I'm gonna mute. Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Austin, turn your background down.
Turn your background down. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's better.
Hello?
yeah, that's better.
There we
Can you
go.
guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah,
we can hear you, Austin. We can hear you, Austin.
I think he's
Austin,
got
go
a
out and come back
YouTube.
in. Austin, go out and come back in. Austin, you might have some problems with your
No,
line.
I
you guys
think
hear
he's
me?
got a
Come
you.
back in.
Yeah, we can hear you. He's got a YouTube session up and a StreamYard session.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just got a
He
mute
can't
the
hear us.
YouTube
He can't
session.
hear us. Hold on, let me tell him in the private chat. Hold on just a second. All right, yeah,
All
he
right,
dropped off.
Cardinal
Cardinal
Bowl, what's
Bowl,
going on?
Go ahead. Ah man, hold on. Let me take him off. Cardinal Bowl, can you hear us?
Can you hear me,
Cardinal Bowl,
guys?
can you hear us? Yeah, we can hear you now.
We
Go
can
ahead.
hear you.
Okay, I just want the first statement I wanted to make was when you guys were talking about Riley's focus on recruiting California kids, or maybe when he had got there, he didn't necessarily have that push. What I wanted to add to that was not only is it about acquiring California kids, we're also judging them by the success of other California kids at other programs. So to me, you guys, there's two players that really nailed the point of getting California kids. That was Bryce Young winning the Heisman, right? He goes to Alabama. He's right in the backyard. He wins the Heisman. And the other player that really emphasized, like, hey, man, we can't let these Cali kids go, was Mason Graham when he went to Michigan. And he was balling on that D-line. And
Right.
to me, those two players always stand out about like, hey, man, we got to keep these guys home, because it's not only like the talent, it's what they accomplish. You know what I mean? Like Bryce Young winning the Heisman. Word on the street was he would have went to SC, but then Helton, I guess, couldn't retain him, or, you know, obviously.
No, you know, he was committed to Sark. When Sark left, that's
Sark,
when Bryce decided, yeah, he was committed to Sark.
Yeah, so when our turnover happened, we lose him, and obviously Saban recruits him, and he goes to Alabama. So that was the one point.
And Cardinal Bowl, you do know, because I know you know football as well and all that, man. When you have that much inconsistency at head coach and in that short time period in like 6 years, like we had, like that's bad for recruiting. Nobody know who the coach is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? The person I've been talking to and building a relationship ain't even a coach no more. Yeah, so that's tough.
So
that's recruiting as well.
I have an interesting take on that, and that goes to my second point real quick. So you guys, the reason B Jinx, the reason I focus on Sark and I say things changed. You guys might disagree, but I felt this strongly. So Sark brought his whole staff from Washington, and I feel like this. I'm not a 100% loyalist to alumni, but my whole point is you can't trash talk USC one year, then the next year you got to sell USC. And I didn't like that at all. When Sark came from Washington, you had guys who hated USC. The quarterback coach he had, you guys, I forgot his name, but it was a Washington coach. I think it's a Samoan dude, QB, big time. Those guys have been battling SC for years, and then now he gets a USC hat and goes, "Hey guys, come to USC." And I just felt like that was, if you compare that to Coach O, Coach O had more of a homegrown love for SC, and I just felt the timing of the Sark
connection
thing
with the recruit and the connection.
Yeah,
with the recruit.
you know what I mean. He had a strong love, so I always focus on Sark on that one, and I'll mute myself for a bit. I'll probably be another topic, but I just wanted to throw those two topics out there.
All right.
Hey, Austin, you back with us? Walter,
Yeah,
I'm gonna come back to you in a second. Yeah,
Can you hear
we
me?
can hear you now. Go ahead, Austin. Yeah,
we can hear you, Austin.
Yeah, I just to that last point, I guess I don't have too much of an issue. I mean, these coaches move around everywhere every year. You don't think Riley wasn't bad-mouthing SC while he was recruiting all those California kids 2 months before he got the job, right? He had 3 California recruits. So just the nature of college football, that doesn't bother me because these coaches move around. These assistant coaches move around. every year, so that doesn't bother me. They just slap a new logo on. This isn't like in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. They slap a new logo on. They got new allegiances, so that doesn't bother me.
Got you, man. How you been, Austin? Good to hear from you, man.
I've been good. I've been good.
Hey.
Getting ready for the season.
We be missing that. Wait a minute now.
Well, I got to keep Leon in check because those excuses. He loves to make excuses. He loves to make excuses.
Austin, last week we had a show. I don't know if he was on live, but I did see your comments, and we were talking about it. So I want you to talk about some other in this team. The question was about, do we consider Fresno State a preseason? You had some words in the comments.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's the only reason we scheduled them, right? That was USC's agenda this year, was to schedule like an SEC team, put a lot of food early on the schedule. They didn't schedule Fresno State because they were tough. They scheduled them because they felt.
I gotta push back, Austin.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. He asked me to answer the question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they put Fresno State on the schedule for a reason, to get them warmed up. That's a warm-up game. And remember, you're going back to the year against Reggie Bush. You realize that until our favorite defensive coordinator got here with Lincoln Riley, that was one of the worst defenses USC had ever put on the field that year with Reggie Bush, where we lost in the championship game to Texas. That was a horrible defense with the Ting brothers running around out there. That was a bad defense. And Fresno State stayed in the game that night, right? But right now, if USC struggles against Fresno State, that's going to be.
What year you said there was a terrible team, Austin?
Oh, you mentioned in your comment that when I commented about Fresno State not being a good team, you commented, "Hey, Fresno State gave USC a tough time back in." They did, but what I'm saying is USC had a horrible defense that year. Horrible defense.
They had a horrible defense.
Oh, for sure. That year they went to the championship game and lost to Texas. That was not a good defense.
I would say it was injury plagued.
But
they were bad. They were guys. The point I'm making is they weren't good.
So they were 35th in scoring defense and 56 in total defense that year.
That's not good back in those days. They were not explosive. Those were not explosive offenses USC played in the Pac-12 that year. Remember, they had the Ting brothers in that championship game playing. That was not a good defense. You had an injured young Brian Cushing. That was not a good defense. So,
Listen,
my point is this: if Fresno State gives us a tough time, that's a problem.
That is a problem. I think we all agree.
I got to push back against that. Even Pete told Matt Leonard before the season that Fresno State was going to be a problem for them. This is documented.
I tell you this: if they're a problem this year, we got major issues.
I'm not saying that they're going to be a problem. I'm saying that historically, Fresno State hasn't been a cakewalk for us. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying this. My point is, this season, if Fresno State gives them a tough time, we got a problem. It's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season.
Let's go to Mitchell real quick. Mitchell, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys? Right on. This is the Wayne Mulholland character, right? Hey, some previous caller said about I think it was Carl and Bowl.
Yeah.
We lost. I hate to see California kids go to, especially Oregon, and we lost DJ Uwangale. I know I'm botching the name, and his brother is really good. He was a good quarterback in college. I know he's a third string with the Chargers. But I'm glad to see that we're keeping a homegrown talent, and you can't get every top recruit in every state, right? That'd be impossible. I mean, every single state. Can you imagine? No, that won't happen. Oh, I know. I get something. We're going. Our deep runs is. I think our deep runs will be really good with deeper running back, with deep wide receivers. At Fresno State, I think the quarterback, Malaki Nelson, left because he couldn't beat him out. He's only 5'11". I think his name is Matson. This is last year. I mean, but we're just taking a page out of what SEC and Notre Dame do. They play their cupcakes. We still have one of the toughest schedules. I don't want people clowning just because the first 3 games are warm-ups, tune-ups. I'll take it.
Well, I like to call them preseason games. Also, that's what I like to call them. You get a chance to fine tune some things, see how your 2s and 3s look, which is important. especially if you can get your ones out of those games without major injuries or hamstring or soft tissue injuries going into conference play, that's going to be the most important thing. That's how you develop your twos and your threes with those preseason games. So they're
Yeah,
more
I would
important
agree.
than anything. Yeah.
But I guarantee you're going to come on here disappointed if they struggle against Fresno State.
Hey, Austin.
I'm telling you,
I'm
if we
gonna
struggle
say
with
this,
Fresno
though.
State, especially defensively, and that's also say we don't smother that team.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
got
have big
smothered.
issue with it. I'm gonna
You
have
got
big
smothered
issue
them.
with it.
So,
Here's the thing, though. Just a couple of years ago, Notre Dame lost their first game in like North Dakota State or something like that, and they wound up going to the national championship. So I'm not saying Fresno State's going to win or we're going to.
No, they lost to Northern. They lost to Northern Illinois. Like
Good,
the
Northern
game.
Okay,
Illinois.
whoever
Yeah,
it was, they was not
it
a
was a
team that they
preseason
just
game.
Well, Notre Dame loves their
They lost
cupcakes.
it. They lost the game and they still went to the national championship that year. So
Austin,
But they didn't have Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana,
You're
and all
right.
that
Right.
remaining on their schedule.
that's not the point, Chris. We're talking about having preseason type games.
But Chris's point is, if USC does that, they can't survive the rest of their schedule if they struggle with Fresno State or lose.
Hold on, Cardinal
Can't
Bowl.
survive.
I think Cardinal Bowl has a question for you, Austin. Go ahead, Cardinal
Yeah.
Bowl.
Austin, I'm listening to the words you're saying. You're saying struggle. So give me the score. Give me an outcome of a score that doesn't indicate struggle when we play them.
Oh, it's not just a score. And remember, this is what I was saying last year. Everybody was impressed against Clay Helton's team in Missouri State.
Wait, Austin. Now, who else was saying we couldn't stop the run from game one? Come on now.
You were.
Okay.
But let me just answer his question. It's not just the score because everybody was impressed last season. Oh, we beat Missouri State 70-25. And Chris and I are both like, ooh, there are some red flags in this game. We were getting gashed. So I got to see the game. You can win by a big score, but if you're giving up 4.5 yards a carry to a team that just moved up from Division II, which was the case with Missouri State, that is a red flag. That's a problem.
I agree with that.
Remember, Missouri State had just moved up. That was their first or second game at Division I, and you're getting pushed around by a team that just moved up. Oh my gosh, that was a problem.
I guess the only pushback is I agree with your overarching point. I just think that scheduling Fresno State has a reputation for always being a tough battle. So that's why for you to kind of poo-poo on them, that's why I don't consider Fresno State the other teams that we're playing that were considered preseason. Fresno State's a solid institution.
They've always been a solid team.
And we've seen other teams come from lower divisions and beat top SEC schools, beat Big Ten schools, beat Notre Dame first game of the season. So it's not out of the question that sometimes teams will struggle the first game of the season. It's not a big deal.
I'm just saying.
This is my thing. Fresno State lost their quarterback, their wide receiver.
Yes.
From last year, their returners and all that, right? Their record projection for 2026 at best is 7-5, right? If we are the championship team that we want to be and we think that we're going to be, those first 4 games, we're going to smother those teams.
I agree. I agree 100%.
You have to.
You have to.
Plus Rutgers.
So if we take USC out of it, if we said that Fresno State was going to Indiana, going to Ohio State, going to Georgia, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We all be saying, man, that game ain't nothing for them. That they're playing Fresno State. That's how we'll be putting it. They ain't playing nobody. They playing Fresno State. They supposed to bury them teams.
Right.
Hey Mitchell, did you want to say anything else real quick, Mitchell?
Yeah, a few things. Why can't we mix up the schedule? Why do we have the first 3 weeks have to be easy to pacify these haters? Why can't we play like Ohio State? We gotta play them anyway. Why can't we play them? Why can't we mix up? They do that in the pros. They do that in the pros, right?
So what they do, Mitchell, is they give you your league schedule, right? And all them games is going to start. They give everybody opportunity to do all their out of conference games the first 3 weeks of the season. Like you're not going to find any conference where they're playing in conference games And I mean, everybody do it unless you playing a team from another conference.
I've seen
That's
the
your
SEC play their week play off season
LSU.
preseason game at the end of the season, right before their rivalry game. The SEC does it all the time.
Oh yeah, those big schools. Yeah.
because
Someone
what
with the
that
weight
is-
room with
Go ahead,
Branch.
Austin. I mean,
You
go
said
ahead.
who's
Yeah.
in
No,
the
it's okay. I'm
Branch?
sorry. No, it's just your show. I thought with Branch, you could say that Deuce could have hit the weight room. Same with Gentry. I mean, Gentry didn't even make the team. He was unrestricted. He didn't get drafted. And I'm always following whether they're gonna get drafted. I'm very big that they get to the next level. And one more thing, I always do this to myself. I guess you heard about what baseball wants to do with you're not gonna be able to draft high school baseball players in the draft. They have to be a sophomore in college. I mean, that's pretty unfair. They're rich at just crime poverty. Can you see? I mean, not everybody's is caught to be college, or they're gonna play football. They're gonna give up on baseball and play football.
What did they just implement this 1-year rule for college baseball?
Yeah, so that way they can get rid of the single A. That's how they cut. That's how they can
But
retain.
it's not definite yet, right? They're trying to, and they're trying to stop you from being able to go, right
I
out of
hope
high school.
they're gonna cut out single A ball. They're gonna cut out rookie label. Let college take care of all that stuff. And it's just more competition for the college players too.
I think they're talking about it. I don't think it's been put in place yet. It just I just seen it the last couple of days. I think they that's what they're trying to push though. It's the
I mean, you can't go straight from high school to NFL, and even with the basketball, it's kind of
It makes sense. It makes sense for the NFL, right? There's not too many 18-year-olds.
No, it's too much.
Ready to go play in the NFL with them grown
Too
men.
physical.
That's a safety issue.
Also, in baseball, you got a lot of international players. They can't get rid of single A. I mean, those guys aren't coming through college. They're coming from the Dominican, Puerto Rico, places like that. They need somewhere to play.
Well, I just thought just greedy being the greedy getting richer, and the NCAA is could have fixed this whole thing because I get to see USC now, but I still wish there was the original Pac-12. It's just ridiculous. It is.
I don't believe that any sport should restrict when you should go pro. Golf, tennis, soccer, the list goes on and on. F1, they got kids over there that are sick. What's the boy?
NFL should, Leon. The NFL should.
The racist.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
In a capitalistic society, you should not be telling kids when they can turn pro. The boy Antonelli, who races for Mercedes and F1, the highest level of motorsport racing, he's been racing there for 2 years. The dude didn't even have a driver's license. He was 16 years old. In tennis and golf, you can go and turn pro whenever you want to. But they have these restrictions in 2 sports, the NFL and the NBA.
Well,
go ahead, BG.
In football, I think it's right because, like I said, there's not many 17, 18-year-old kids body ready to go play with them grown men in NFL. That's a safety issue. Like they're gonna get crushed. They're gonna get hurt. Like football, they need.
There's been plenty of times we've seen kids and they looked at him at 18 and said they've been saying that about Luke Wayful. Oh, he looks like he's a pro.
That's a different speed. Yeah, that's a different speed.
What I said was they should not restrict based on age. You should let the players decide that, like they do any other sport. That's all I said. I didn't say whether or not they're going to succeed. What I said was there should not be an age on restriction. You do it for every other sport.
Safety issues.
Well, they do it. They do it for NFL. Does that as a safety issue? Like so, 18-year-old going there and go across the middle, and Ray Lewis in his 30s come and blow his head off and get hurt. He's gonna be trying to shoot the NFL.
They don't even do that anymore. You got to allow them to catch him, tuck the ball, make a football move before you can hit him anymore. So that rule you're talking about doesn't even matter anymore. Or that
there's grown men that can't even play high school. They can't even handle a modern day. There's guys in their 30s will get murdered playing modern day high school kids.
And how about the Olympics? They're gonna have flag football. They can't have regular football play. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Now basketball is a different story.
We're all making an assumption here.
Basketball is a different story. Basketball, let them come out of high school, but football, no, man, too many kids will get hurt. You're talking about an exception though, Leon, which is maybe a handful, I would say one handful every season that's able to make that jump that has the size. But even if they had the size, mentally they're not ready. The mentality of those kids are not ready to go out there and compete against grown men on a football field.
LeBron.
Let the players and let the teams decide that. That's all I'm saying. Let them decide that.
Yeah,
The NBA.
Well,
but Leon, wouldn't there still be an age limit even in your decision? So you're okay with letting a 17-year-old declare to the or that's not an adult, right? What's an adult? 18, 21?
18.
Well,
Okay.
But you got some 17
so
years
you're
coming out
okay
of high
with
school.
letting an 8-year-old play NFL football.
What I'm saying is let the teams and the individuals decide. Kobe Bryant and some of these dudes would play against. Listen, I used to live in Wilmington, Delaware, right outside of Philadelphia. Every year, Kobe Bryant and those dudes used to go play against the Philadelphia 76ers when he was 15 years old, killing them
That's
dudes.
basketball, Leon.
but Leon,
That's
you're
different than
saying,
football.
Leon, you're saying,
Come out. Let me. Go ahead.
yeah, Leon, you're saying let the teams decide it. They are deciding it. That's collectively bargained. That's not just a
Right.
rule the NFL makes. That's the Players Association and the owner saying we don't want 18-year-olds in this league. So they are deciding.
Because who was it? Was it Maurice Colorette was the one that tried to go to
Mike
Mike
Williams
Williams.
did too.
Mike
Williams
Williams
too.
did
The
too.
same year. He tried to come out. They told him no. They told both of them no.
Mike Williams wasn't ready.
No, he wasn't old enough. He wasn't 3 years removed. He tried to come out his sophomore season.
He struggled as a pro. He struggled as a pro.
He showed
Big
did.
time.
Didn't
He
make
was
it no
not
time.
ready. I'll answer that. He was not ready. Clarette either. They both struggled.
Hey, Leon,
Well,
I get your economic point. I guess my main question is, do you think all the sports are the same? Because I look at it as some sports are skill sports. I look at some sports as physicality. I look at some, golfing is way different than being on a D line pushing a 300 grown, a grown man with somebody else coming at your ankles.
what I'm saying is, I believe in a capitalistic society. It's unfair to keep young people from playing professional sports. That's all I'm saying. And whether or not they can do it or not, we are all making an assumption because we haven't seen them do it. And there's other sports that allow kids. Let me ask you a question. A 16-year-old like Antonelli, who's actually leading the championship in F1 right now, as a 17-year-old, is driving a multi-million-dollar car at over 200 miles an hour in racetracks. That's really, really dangerous. But we let him do it, right?
Isn't he a phenom though?
He's not the only one
an
that's done this.
exception.
I'm just bringing him. He's not the only one that's done this because I'm talking about it's current. He's doing it now. He
But
did it
you want
last
to know
year.
why you're able to
He's
name.
not the first.
You want to know why. You want to
What
know
I'm
why.
saying,
Hold
Leon,
on,
reason why I
is
can
driving
name
the
it-
car.
Hold on, Chris.
This goes
Hold
back
on,
to
Chris. Hold on, Chris. Leon, you want to know why you're able to name that few amount of people? Because it hasn't been that many. There are exceptions.
No, I'm naming him
No,
because he's doing it
anything.
right now. It's current.
But what I'm
So
saying
this
is,
is what I'm gonna say. This goes back, but this goes
Name
back.
some others.
This goes back to Cardinal. Goes back to what Cardinal Bowl was just saying, where all the
It's
sports are not the
Mercedes
same.
car.
Driving a car is a skill. It's not a physical sport, right? Where
It is a
it's based
physical
off your.
sport.
It's not a
driving
physical
these
sport where
cars.
you.
Drive.
Hold on,
Chris,
Leon. It's not a
driving
it's not
these
a physical-
cars. Driving these cars with the G forces and stuff like that. It is a physical sport.
It's not a
For you-
physical sport where you have to go against somebody else that's more physical than you, that's bigger, stronger, and more developed. It's not one of those where you into combat with this person.
He's right.
And it's your power versus their power.
Say it's not a combat sport. Don't say it's not physical. Say it's not a combat sport.
It's not a physical sport to where it's physicality versus
is.
physicality, where it's person
Okay.
versus person, where we have to engage my strength against your strength.
Like I said, it's not a combat
Like
sport.
Trojan fight,
It is
it's not a
physical
contact sport. It's not a contact sport. That's why
Thank you.
the NFL. That's why it matters in the NFL.
And with the NBA draft, these mock drafts, the first 10 guys are freshmen. So you might as well get rid of this 19-year-old minimum. This one and done. Let them come from high school, and they don't make it. That's their fault.
yeah, I agree with that for basketball. Yeah, I agree with that for basketball.
So so I'm looking at it. So for basketball, be at least 19 years old. You got to be at least 19-year-old, be one and be out of be one NBA season removed from high school, so 1 year out of high school. So like what's the name was saying, this is the teams making this choice and the collective making this choice, and the reason why they came up with it: better player development, improved scouting, and those things. So that like what he's saying for the NFL, NBA, that is the collective bargaining, and they came up with this. So that is the teams making that decision.
Hey, Roger Dodger, they don't watch F1, so they don't understand about the physicality of F1 racing. They don't understand the guys who race in World Superbike and MotoGP. These dudes are really, really young out there racing multi-million-dollar bikes, crashing these bikes, breaking bones, and they talk about it's not a physical sport. We don't talk about the young kids that do the Tour de France against grown-ass men, but, you know, they're not physical sports, so it don't count. Anyway.
Well, they're still not competing against somebody genetically bigger.
Yeah. That's what he's missing. That's what he's missing, I think.
I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing anything. All I said is in a capitalistic society, we should not be allowing these kids.
Let's do this. Leon, how young, coming out of high school, how young do you, because you know you have some 16-year-olds, 17 kids that don't turn 17 going into college to play ball. How young would you allow a player to be going into the NFL, coming out of high school? How young?
If they graduate high school, they should be able to go to the league.
So,
and I graduated high school. I graduated at 17.
What's that?
No, if the team doesn't think they're worthy enough to be drafted, they just won't draft them.
I got a question.
That's all I'm saying.
Do you have an age restriction on a person using steroids?
No, I was in high school and dudes were doing steroids.
So you're okay with a 16-year-old kid on steroids?
Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you said you went to somewhere.
There are kids. There are kids in high school doing steroids. And there's no rule that's going to stop that.
Oh, I know. I'm not talking about rules. I'm saying you personally, you're okay with a 6-year-old making the decision to say, "I want to be on steroids." Would you advocate that?
You're conflating two different things. We're not apples and apples here. You're apples and oranges, buddy.
Okay, let's rewind it. So
what is allowing a 6-year-old to determine if he takes steroids got anything to do with somebody graduating high school and going to the league?
Okay, so this is my
nobody in their right mind is going. If my 6-year-old comes in here and says, "Daddy, I want to take steroids," shouldn't even know what steroids are. I'm gonna say, "Yeah,
Trojan Fight funny." Trojan Fight said, "He said I'm 50 and I can race a car, but I probably couldn't suit up at safety."
Okay, so this is why I'm bringing it up.
You can't race an F1 car at 50, buddy. Not you.
So this is why this is why I'm posing the question. If in a capitalistic world, somebody's going to have incentive to make money, right? So if you're okay with a 16-year-old making the decision to put his body in a condition where he can play NFL sports with grown man, the reason I'm asking the steroids is then that person also should have the decision to what they want to do with their body. That's why that's a connection I'm making. Maybe it's not a connection, but I'm saying
you're talking about the choice to take a drug versus being able to say I want to get drafted after I graduate. Yeah, it's two different things. Bro.
Yeah, but the steroid is to put that person in an economic position to take advantage of what you want.
You losing me,
Cardinal. Capitalism.
Right? I'm not.
It's all about.
I'm not following.
It's all about capitalism.
I'm not. Kids are taking steroids right now, trying to be better at high school basketball and football and baseball and stuff like that.
Economically,
they're doing it. They're doing it already. They're not asking anybody to do it. They're just doing it.
And to be honest, even if they did allow kids to go to the NFL out of high school, I don't even think many kids are going to draft. Once you go in the draft, you can't go in the draft again. Right? So
they don't get drafted. The team made a decision. Okay, cool.
And so their career will be over. I don't even think you will see players trying to go to the NFL out of the draft because they know their body and stuff ain't going to be ready.
I'm glad both leagues have a rule because I wouldn't want to hear the horror stories of kids not making it. It'll be more failures than successes. So I'm glad they got it.
I would hate to see a 16-year-old out there.
You talking about basketball and football?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would hate to see a 16-year-old out there in a preseason game get seriously hurt because he's physically outmatched on the NFL roster
I'm glad they got rules.
in the name
Some
of
of our best
capitalism.
players have come out of high school. Some of our best players have come out of high school to ever play the game in basketball. Talking about Kobe, talking about LeBron.
Again, that's
Those
basketball,
examples
though,
are the greatest guys in the history of the game.
A lot more failures. A lot more.
But we
Yeah,
didn't.
a lot.
But again, we didn't know they were going to be the greatest until they got to the NBA and proved themselves. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They got the opportunity to try.
Mitch, did you have anything? Did you want to add?
Oh, Kobe. I mean, it was his genetics. He spoke 5 languages. He could have done well. But there's an exception. This is not the norm. There's plenty of kids that declared from high school, didn't make an NBA, and that was it. They couldn't go to college. That was it. No. But one more thing. I did mention it though. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the thing about Zachary Branch that was funny. And if you can't do the weightlifting during the day, then 10 o'clock at night, there's always tomorrow. You postpone it for whatever reason that you couldn't get in the weightlifting. You're not gonna lift weights for 10 hours. It's not gonna make you taller. It's not steroids and lifting weights. It's not gonna make you hit a 95-mile fastball. Some is just hard work, practice. Some you're just born with or blessed. That's the way it is. Thank you. I'm sorry I open up I open up too many things. I'm sure, Brian, you weren't planning on this talk about, high school age to being in the leagues and steroids. I went for can of worms. I apologize.
You're all right, Mitch.
Hey, so
right.
just to put it in perspective for basketball, right? There have been 41 players, right, in the history of basketball. It stopped in 2005, so it wasn't as if it was getting very prevalent in the late 90s with Garnett and Kobe. A lot of people trying to do it, so it wasn't that prevalent. It's been 41 players. That's 41 players that was actually drafted. That's not saying how many actually went into the draft. There were 41 players drafted in the NBA straight out of high school. Only 7 at least made the All-Star team one time. Only 7.
Moses Malone.
Yeah, LeBron, Kobe, Kevin, Tracy, McGrady, Dwight Howard, Jermaine O'Neal, Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, they're in the minority. Okay.
Yeah, that's an exception. Yeah, go ahead, Mitch. Mitch, did you have anything else?
No, fight on. Have a good week. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, fight on, Mitch. Yeah, me personally, and I was reading what B. Jones said. Shout out to Like the Torch and B. Jones. He said, "What would happen if James Harrison hit a kid fresh out of high school?" Yeah, I can't sign off on that, Leon, man. I understand that whole capitalism thing, but you're talking about putting a 17-year-old at risk, mentally and physically out there on the field, even if they are an exception. Mentally, they hadn't, they're not ready for that type of physicality. That's why it's a gradual progression for them to go from high school, from high school to college, then from college. In college, they're pretty much prepping their bodies for the league, is what I'm saying. And it's taking 3 to 4 years for them to do it. But to come straight from high school to where they haven't even started the program, even if you had an exception to the rule, let's just say, for example, for conversation sake, you had a Luke Wafel that wanted to jump pro. He has that body, but mentally, is he ready from a speed-wise, from a physicality? They have techniques in the NFL that help those guys get to the quarterback and hurt people. They have techniques in the NFL that help offensive linemen, 350-pound offensive linemen, put defensive ends on the ground. We're talking about grown men. Now you're going to stick a 17-year-old out there?
But B, what everybody's missing, what Leon's saying is, Leon is not saying he don't disagree that they physically, mentally ready. He said what Leon is saying is it should be their choice. And if they go to the draft and get, he's what Leon is saying, it should be their choice. That if they get drafted and get hurt, if they get drafted and don't get if they don't get drafted, they can't enter the draft again, they football career. He said that's on them, but what he's saying is they should have that should be their choice. That's what Leon's saying.
Thank you, Chris. And we all talk about this life-changing money that all these guys are getting. You get a couple $1 million, you invested, that's life-changing money, right? They should get the opportunity to do whatever they want to do in a capitalistic society. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say they was ready. Some might perform better than we think. And here's the thing with NFL football. We've never seen a high school kid go to the NFL. So we're all making an assumption. And this whole thing about James Harrison hitting somebody, the James Harrison type dudes don't even get hit anymore like that because the NFL rules don't allow it. So, as a matter of fact, we could take a high school quarterback and put it back there because guess what? You can't even hit quarterbacks anymore.
Leon, you have seatbelt. Leon, you have seatbelt laws in your state, Leon?
Man, I don't want to keep going with these different.
I'm just asking. Do you have seatbelt laws?
I don't know. I haven't read the DMV handbook in a while. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I'm gonna just leave it right there.
Now expound, Austin. I want to hear where you're going with this. Where's you going?
I know where you're going with it. I know where you're
going.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes we got rules and regulations in place just to protect people, right? That's just the way it goes.
So I guess that'd be like the alcohol age is 21.
Yeah,
saying that age 18, you're not ready to make a smart enough decision and manage and handle it right. And
we'd have mayhem if we just left everything up to everybody.
That's not true. Amsterdam has free drinking laws over there. I don't see anything going on.
I live in the U.S.
Yeah, sometimes the U.S. ain't always the best place, buddy.
I wouldn't move from here. I know that.
As soon as I'm tired, I'm out of here.
I wouldn't want to move anywhere else.
Oh, I do. I will.
What are you looking at going
you know what?
Roger Dodger. Of course, hey, Roger Dodger said it's harder to get a driver's license than have a baby. Of course it is. For a driver's license, you got to take a test. You got to get a permit and take a test. To have a baby, you just got to do the do.
Yeah. Well,
Austin got to roll with me to Dubai one year, so I can show him a couple things, man. Go hang out on the pond with my homeboys and be like, get over here, bro.
Man. Well,
man, and shout out to Jeff Beard, man. I know he on here. He gonna wait as soon as we leave the live, and he'll send the comment. He's an Arkansas fan, so he be trying to hide out in the. Yeah, I've been trying to get him on. I told him, but till Arkansas have a good season, I don't think he's gonna say nothing.
I saw an Oregon fan in here too. Maybe one day we'll pull up an Oregon fan and let them come in on their reluctancy to stay in the Pac-12 and keep the conference afloat. I think SC made a power move. It shows you who still whose name still carries weight out west.
And
for them to leave and the entire conference collapse.
B wants that Pac-12 back though. B wants the Pac-12 back though. He wants the Pac-12 back bad.
Pac-12 already, man. Because I missed the Pac-12 already. I hate seeing.
I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
For the reason is I hate seeing our kids having to travel way to New Jersey. Now I understand those kids got to come to the West Coast also. Okay. All right.
They're not flying Southwest. B, they're not flying Southwest. They're not flying Southwest.
Hold on. Also, Leon, before you get out of here, man, you want to shout out your channel and your social media real quick?
Not really, man, because I still ain't back.
Oh, you still ain't up yet? It still ain't up yet?
Yeah, we still got a couple months until this lawsuit get done. But man, just thanks B and Chris again for allowing me to get on the platform, man.
Leon,
we appreciate you.
To talk to my guy Austin, when I come to the Ohio State game, we got to do.
I'm gonna be there, Leon. We can talk it out man to man, Leon.
Hey, Leon, don't sit by Austin because Austin gonna be like, you see the offensive line right there? You see that defense? They're not smothering. You see that? What I tell you, Leon? We see this in the Fresno State game. What did I say? I see the Fresno State game.
Leon's gonna have an earplug then sitting next to me.
Nah, it's just all love, man. It's all love.
We appreciate you.
Y'all have a great evening, man. And
all right, thank you, Leon.
Fathers out there, happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Leon. You too.
To you, bro. Fight on, bro.
Hey, and B, I ain't got no love for Oregon, UCLA, Washington, none of them.
Yeah.
But this is the thing though, right? A lot of those teams left the Pac-12 when we left because just like how financially it was better for us, it was definitely better for them. And they like, Well, if USC go and they start getting these millions in banking this NIL, we're not going to be able to compete with recruiting or keep up the level we doing. We need money too. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of the reason that they follow, not just because we left. They was following the money.
Right.
Hey,
And I agree with it. Go ahead, Carter and Bo.
Oh, to your point, Chris, I forgot the name of the style of business, but then it makes me think about, you know how all the car dealerships are all together? They're all, every time you see a dealership, they're usually about 12 of them all together because they all feed off each other. And that's the other teams are always going to try to feed off USC. We're the big dog, and they know if you get attached to our hip, you can always, make some more money. And then to B. Jink's point earlier, where he mentioned the possibility of going back and creating a new pack, the reason I like his vision is because don't underestimate the saltiness of the Big Ten, because when they brought us over, I think the Big Ten was like, all right, we'll make money with them. They'll do their thing. But Ohio State, Penn State, all these other schools will be the top. Well, you already see recruiting wise, other schools are sweating because they have to deal with Oregon. They have to deal with USC. And check this out. I hate to mention them. Don't let UCLA get a little momentum and take all those
sneaking up, Carter and Bo. They sneaking up.
They do have momentum. They do have momentum. They do have momentum.
So they can start
galvanizing. They can start galvanizing a lot of Cali kids. So I think the Big Ten could get salty because they might have brought in something they can't handle, right? You bring in a beast, and then that beast starts taking over your conference.
Right.
I don't think the Big Ten is going to have any problem with that because that's just more money for them. The other point I'm going to make: no network is going to pay teams $100 million a year to see Oregon State play Washington State. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
And then late at night, that it's not getting no viewership. That's the biggest thing. We can't go back to the Pac-12 unless we have some type of media deal and get better time slots, right? Which
USC made a smart move to secure their future, and they're not turning back.
I'm not saying that they didn't make a smart move. I'm saying let's get over there, get some money, get our weight back up, and then when we move back out, and I gave the example. If we could pull off winning 2,
it wasn't about our weight though. It wasn't about our weight. It was the weight of the other teams on the West Coast. I think
it was. At one point, think about it like this: at one point, USC carried the West Coast. You don't think that they can get back to it? So I gave the example. Hey, look, if we can win 2 natties within the next 5 seasons, and especially if they're back to back, get our credibility back, we can carry the West Coast like we did before.
You just didn't have enough compelling matchups in the Pac-12. You had weird times. Right. You don't have compelling matchups. Nobody's going to pay all that money to play. Nobody wants to see Washington State play.
How did it work then? How did it work?
It wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. In the new world, it wasn't working.
So what happened is that TV deals and media deals came into play. Once you started getting the ACC network, the Big Ten network, the SEC network, and stuff like that,
we were done.
It was done. That was the biggest issue when they moved to that, and not just regional games on your TV and all that and things like that. And people started getting all these networks, and the Pac-12 did that dumb streaming deal. That was the nail in the coffin.
You talking about later on. I'm talking about during the Carroll years when he was at his height.
Yeah, but TV was different then. TV was different.
They didn't have the SEC network. They didn't have all the deals and all that stuff.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is...
Didn't we miss out on acquiring Texas, though? Didn't we try to get
Texas and OU? We missed out on acquiring Texas and OU.
There's your problem. They were bringing in better teams, which they needed to get a bigger TV deal, and they missed the boat. They missed the boat in doing that.
And B, I wanted to ask you something, right? Because you made a good point about just like in education, right? When you graduate high school, you go to college, it gives you opportunity to develop and all that stuff before you get into the real life. The same thing you told Leon. You said, Leon, the reason they don't go straight to NFL, they need that time to get their bodies and, mentally it's preparing them for the NFL, right? Right. So we can't use that excuse that we got to travel across the country because this is what college is for, is to prepare you for the NFL. So if you're going to make it to the NFL, guess what you're going to be doing? Traveling across the country every week.
Yep.
But you're not going to be going to class either, though. These kids have to go to class, man. Are you forgetting that aspect of it?
No.
They got tutors. They got tutors traveling on these planes. They got all type of stuff. They don't have to go to
But they
class.
still got other demands. They have other demands outside of playing football.
No, I got you. But school's not a problem. They got army of tutors on those planes with them when they flying everywhere. They got classrooms set up in the hotels.
Hey, did you not listen to Marquise's Lee graduation speech? Well, he said he went to USC, never went to class, but he said he was there for football. So he's at school. When he came back here recently to try to graduate,
he majored in football and minored in practice.
Yeah.
He said when he came back as an adult to get his USC degree, he didn't know how to study,
I'll say this.
Or take notes. He said he didn't know what the classroom looked like.
I'll say this, B. I do miss the West Coast matchups. I used to go to the Stanford and the Cal game every year. That was my routine. I do miss that. But in terms of, the USC having the finances to go out and build buildings and support their non-Olympic sports, this is the only way they could do it. Right? Yeah. This is the only way they can do it.
And I'm going to tell you the biggest reason that, one, I don't think it's ever happening going back to Pac-12. But my biggest reason I don't want it to go back to the Pac-12 is, for the simple fact, if we do, then we weaken the Big Ten. It's not that I care for the Big Ten, but I like the Big Ten being better than the SEC.
SEC, I agree.
If you take USC, you take USC football and baseball, you take UCLA women's basketball, our women's basketball, all these other sports that we're winning, that the old Pac-12 teams are competing in and winning national championships today in, you take in all sports, you take them out of the Big Ten, back to the West Coast. Now the Big Ten is back left with only Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State. And the SEC is going to try to take that mantle back and be like, oh, well, that conference, it ain't even deep. We the best conference. You know what I'm saying? That's my biggest thing, though. So if you take the West Coast schools back out of the Big Ten, you ultimately, in a few years, are ultimately giving the power that is slipping away from the SEC back to the SEC.
I agree with you. It does weaken the Big Ten and it gives the power back to the SEC. That's probably the only reason why I wouldn't want to do it. I would be against it. I don't want to see the power back into the SEC's hand. Then we got to probably,
Nick Saban does
run amok on us. Yeah, do a number on us. Yeah, so I agree with it for that point. But we're coming up. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark, man. Listen. I want to thank Leon for joining the show. Of course, Austin, stop being a stranger, man. You've been missing out a couple times.
We've been missing Austin, man.
Yeah. I'll be back in there. I'll I'm gonna be back on my cycle here. I'll be back on every week, so like I'll try to make it in.
Austin, you going to the Oregon game, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
All right, we got to catch up. I'll be up there. I'll be at the Oregon game.
That was me.
Yeah. Sorry, the noise. I'm at 24 Hour Fitness, so you guys are hearing the gym noise in the background.
Wait, Austin, you at 24 Hour Fitness?
Yes.
Chris, don't do that, Chris.
Wait a minute. So you telling me wherever you was at the work, you couldn't get it. You couldn't get into the gym, and you was able to go work out at 24 Hour
Chris,
Fitness?
I'm on the judge machine right now, getting ready for the season.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Branch.
They got 5 jugs machines in here. They got 5 jug machines in here. Hey, let me speak on that Zach Branch, man. That boy was telling so many lies.
Go ahead.
It was incredible. He was telling so many lies. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, and I made this point, he kept talking about the Stephon Johnson lawsuit. Now, keep in mind, St. Brown was at USC 3-4 years before him. How come he didn't know about the Stephon Johnson lawsuit and that you couldn't get in the weight room at different times? So he was just making up stuff.
He's a drug addict too.
Yeah, right. Exactly. His dad was Mr. Universe in the weight room. So he lifts weights. So his story was just, I was like, oh my gosh, this kid's lying so much.
Yeah. I didn't understand. No one understood that. And then for Makai to come right behind him a year later and win in Bolitnikov using the same weight facility in the same jug machines, it didn't make sense. It made what he said a total contradiction. So I didn't understand him putting that narrative out there.
Shout out and fight on, man. J-Dub just made a comment. We've been missing you, man. Glad to see you, man. Glad to see your comment.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out,
Appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you, J-Dubs. Appreciate you. But everybody that joined the show, man, of course, Carton and Bowl, man, he's always, supporting the show. Austin, our weekly resident, Leon, appreciate you. Light the Torch. B. Jones showed up. The entire Light the Torch, podcast. Check them out. I think they're live on Thursdays now. I guess when we get
Sunday
closer
and
to the
Thursday.
season, Sundays and Thursdays. I guess when they get closer to the season, everybody go back into the norm. I know Chris and I will go back into uploading our games, game previews, post game analysis. We'll give our player breakdown, and of course, we know we do our lives on Saturday. So, but it's just the off season right now. Everything's kind of slowed down. We're going to try to come back again next week. We'll have another show for you guys, give you guys something to come in and chime in on, as we get closer to the season and things starting to really pick up. But we appreciate everybody that joined us live. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like and the share. Carter and Bo, you got anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Hey, man, just a great show as usual, man. Always good topics, man. That's my first time talking to Austin. He has strong opinions, man. I'm hoping to talk to him soon. Hey, he doesn't waste his words, man. He goes in. I respect that, man. I might disagree.
Oh, no, I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this team getting better. Yes, sir.
Austin, tell him when you went to USC and how long you've been a fan.
Oh, man.
Got us all.
I was there. I started at SC fall of '88. I graduated in '92. But my dad was a professor at USC, so I've been going to games since I was 2 years old. So I go way back.
Man. That's fire. I got chills right now. I'm ready to play.
Yeah, I go way back. So I want to see this team get back on track. And it's been frustrating watching them the last several years. But hopefully they can get it going and, make some better decisions and coach better, play better, everything.
Well, hopefully when we play Fresno State runs for less than 100 yards.
Thank you. They have to.
That's what you want, right? That's what you want, right?
Yeah, well, and that's what, that was the first time I called in to these guys' show last year. Was after, I think it was the Missouri State game. Everybody was going, we killed them, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, we didn't. There's some red flags there. We're getting Yeah, Chris was too. And I was like, we're getting gashed on the ground. I didn't see any improvement. Yeah, we ran them over, but this didn't look right. And those signs turned out to be facts as the season went on. But hopefully we can make some changes. I mean, the D-line, I know I harp on the linebackers, but yeah, the D-line was a problem last year. Like you said, Chris, it's hard to play linebacker when the D-lineman's in your lap. It's hard to play linebacker. So they got to step up.
B. Jinx said, man, just line everybody up the line and just tell them to lay on the ground.
Here's a funny stat, guys. I was
use them as a human roadblock. That way, at least they got to slow down and jump over.
You guys were talking about special teams the other day. I saw a stat the other day. It was an analytic, and they were saying USC special teams would have been rated, I forget how many slots higher, if they would have just fair caught every kick. That's how bad we were on special teams. If we would have just fair caught every kick last season, we would have been like 20 slots higher. So that's how ineffective we were just in returning kicks, just as one aspect of special teams.
Wow.
Because remember, we would get holding penalties, blocking below the waist every time we returned a kick. It was always something negative.
Special teams was atrocious. Defense was atrocious. The staff has made some changes, bringing in Gary Patterson, bringing in Eckler to help out with special teams and at the linebacker position. All of them are coaching needs that we had to have. I think, Riley, this is the year. A lot of people don't agree with it, but this is the year. This is a make or break season for Riley, in my opinion. This is just
I agree.
But we'll get into that on the next episode, on the next show. Again, shout out to everybody that joined us live today. Shout out to our weekly resident Leon. Shout out to Carter and Bo, Mitchell, and of course, Austin, my man. Don't be a stranger to the show, man. But we're gonna get on out of here and see you guys on next week. Until then, fight on.
Fight on.
All right. Goodbye. Thank you, guys.
All right.